So Wayne, what I like to do with you guys is we can actually go through and do a quick assessment. So one of the cool things is that I can log into your device, Wayne, and we can do an assessment together. And we can kind of evaluate where your ranges of motion are and what type of assistance you may need. So it might be good if you're okay with this, just spend a couple of minutes here to go through and evaluate your active range of motion, your passive range of motion, and sort of those capacities. How does that sound?
Absolutely good.
Very good. Okay. And actually, so you mentioned something earlier about not seeing a lot of improvements, and is that on the ranges of motion, or you're not seeing improvement outside of the device? What's really going on there?
Well, the only real improvement that I've seen is we have a Lazy River Walk here at our rec center, and they have the little foam dumbbell kind of things that you hold on.
Yeah.
Before I started this, I couldn't hold on to it, and now I can.
Okay. I mean, that's something too, right? In terms of getting grip strength, that was one of the measures that we actually evaluated in the clinical trials, right? Grip strength, which is pretty interesting. So I think, and this was true for me too, just in terms of personal experience, I think it's really, we always want it to happen really fast. And I think understanding that it takes many hours, many hundreds of hours, if not more, to really see large improvements, I think we just need to recognize it. Give yourself a little bit of leeway, Wayne. I think a little bit of grace, and that it may take a little bit longer than we hope. So, but that is, no. I'm not ready to give up either. So I'll be stuck in there with you, and we'll figure this out. Okay.
Good.
So on your side, guys, I'm going to ask a couple questions here. What do you see on your console right now?
Solitaire.
You see solitaire. Okay. So on your side, if you wouldn't mind, just so I can kind of understand a couple of things, would you mind going, if it's paused, would you mind starting the meeting? That way I can kind of see the screen. We can kind of go through. Actually, before you do that, let's actually on the top left-hand side, you see a little house button?
Got it.
Go ahead and press that. Very good. That's going to bring you back to the home screen.
Right.
And I'd like you to hit on the home screen the fifth button down on the left-hand side, the telehealth button. That would be wonderful.
Yep.
Okay. And then as soon as you get that pulled up, you'll see an assessment button. Go ahead and press the assessment button for me.
There you go.
And what I'm doing, I'm actually just going to look through and see where I think we're getting data here, which is really good. I want to make sure that we're connected before we dive into this. Very good. What number do you see on your left side?
Minus
the live in.
Minus 7.58.
Great. So we are connected and we are good to go. Okay. So I'm taking note of where we were in terms of range of motion beforehand, and we'll do a quick look-see here, guys. So we were regularly getting around, let's see, on 17 or 18 degrees of extension and around 8 or 9 degrees of flexion. So that'll be a good baseline for us to kind of recognize, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to clear the data here and we'll start again.
Okay.
So Wayne, if you wouldn't mind, are you using the Motus hand on a flat surface right now, or are you using it off a hang?
I've got a pillow on my wheelchair.
Okay. Are you able to move the wrist down into flexion?
Let me adjust it just a little bit here.
Sure. That's one thing that's super important, right? And this will be true for any rehab intervention. Positioning is key, right? We want to make sure that, Wayne, you're safe. Something that Donna brought up earlier. I don't know how your shoulder is, but if you have some shoulder instability, we need to make sure that your arm is supported and we're not causing any undue stress on your shoulder. So position, I think, is absolutely critical, right? We need to make sure that you are safe. After that, we need to make sure that the setup is good so you can get the most out of it, right? And the reason being, let me just draw a quick comparison here. If I imagine my right arm here is a flat surface, okay? It's a table now. And I have my hand mentor, and I'm using it here. And I'm able to go up into extension, perfectly fine, no problems there, no restrictions. But now I'm not able to go into flexion. So if you find yourself working with the Motus hand on a flat surface, you're going to be kind of shortchanging yourself. So we need to make sure that you're able to use it off of a surface to go down into flexion. The only reason I bring this up, Wayne, is I was looking at some of the data as we came on here, and I saw there was a little bit of evidence to me that we might have found ourselves in a place where we were kind of restricting some of the flexion. So nothing bad, Wayne. It's just something to be cognizant of. And I just want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So just be aware of that and try to make sure that you're able to get down into the full flexion there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be the one bit of a starting point there. Okay. So with that being said, we got position, you're safe, that's a primary goal. And next we can get the most out of it. After we have those two things in play, then we can do the assessment. So let's go ahead and do that. On your side, Wayne, what I'd like you to do is try to go up into extension as far as you can. And I will say this, there's no right or wrong answer to this. Really, it's just a matter of do the best you can, okay? So I'll have you go up into extension as far as you can go. And then after you do that, I'm gonna have you go down into flexion as far as you can go. And then we'll repeat this 1 or 2 times. Okay, very good. Very good, very good. So we did get down to around 25 on that side. Okay, I'm gonna have you relax. I'm gonna have you go up into extension again. These are smaller movements, Wayne. That's okay. But I am detecting some movement, which is good. Okay. And you guys can actually follow along. On the left side, you'll be able to see those numbers deviating.
Right.
Okay. And what I'm gonna have you do now is I'm gonna have you just relax for me, okay? And we're gonna do a 3-step quick process here that's going to allow me to help assess whether kind of your sensation and then also get your tone and your range of motion. So it's kind of a triple whammy, if you will, during this passive range of motion check. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to ask you to close your eyes briefly. So you're not able to see the screen. And I'm going to ask you then to not rely on the sound, right? Because I know the Motus hand makes some sound. So don't cheat. Don't rely on the sound. And I want you to honestly tell me as soon as you feel the Motus hand, move your hand for the first time, okay? So you will hear the sound kick in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the sound kicking in, right? Now, did you feel it move you?
No.
You did not feel it move you. Okay, very good. Let me know as soon as you feel it move you for the very first time.
Okay.
Very good. I'm just watching the data come in here.
It's moving pretty good.
Beautiful. Very good. Very good. Okay. And this is actually a really cool thing just because this is helping assess kind of your proprioception, right? It's not a perfect assessment because we're not able to sort of remove cutaneous sensation and these sorts of things, but it's a good analog. It's a good metric. So I'm really happy with that. Okay. And so what we're going to do now is move up to the range of motion, Wayne, and you let me know as soon as you feel any sort of resistance or stretch on your hand, okay?
Well, it's doing it now.
You feel a little bit of stretch now. Is it uncomfortable right now?
No.
Okay. If at any point it becomes uncomfortable, you can press in the center of your screen. You see the 0 button?
Yeah.
That is your bailout point. So if at any point you want to stop the assessment, press the 0 button and it will stop, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Still doing okay, Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not uncomfortable. Very good. Okay, we'll keep going. I'm actually liking this. It's pretty good. So your range has already gone past before. So you were now at around 43, which is nice. So this means that I'm going to make some modifications already. I know we're going to. Okay. And now, Wayne, what we're going to do now is I'm going to drop out all the assistance in it. And what I want you to do is as the assistance goes down, I want you to follow it in deflection and go down as far as you can. Let's go down as far as you can in deflection for me. Keep going, keep going, keep going. How far down can you go?
That's about it, I think.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So that's our second step right there. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing okay.
Okay. So before we had your ranges set to 2 degrees to around 30 degrees. Okay, that's where we had those ranges set. So now we actually went down. We're now in -10. So we're 12 degrees further into flexion. Okay. And you got up to well past 40 degrees. You actually got to 51 degrees at one point. Now, I'm not going to put you at 51 degrees, Wayne, because I think that's probably upper limit. We don't want to, it's like a maximum effort necessarily. We don't want to do that all the time. So I'm gonna bump us up a little bit on both sides, but not to the extent to which we just evaluated, just because that could be too much. And it could be a big shift for one day. And so I'm going to kind of meet in the middle, and we'll increase the ranges a little bit on either end. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make those changes now. I'm going to go to around, instead of 2 degrees relative to extension, which is where you were, we're going to go down to -5. So we're going to do a 7 degree increment in deflection. I know this is a little bit different. I know in our clinical minds, we always think of, X degrees of flexion and X degrees of extension. There's no negative degrees really. Well, I guess there are if you're doing certain movements, but for our convention, just because the computer engineers don't like positive things, doesn't work well for code. We have to have minuses and pluses. So we'll do a relative change of 7 degrees in deflection, and I'm gonna actually move us up to about 40 degrees. So at a 10-degree increase in extension. And we still have some headroom. So we still have some ability to improve, which is good. And actually, you already demonstrated that you can do it, but we'll start with this. Any questions on that so far, Wayne?
No.
Or Angie?
No.
Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to visit the activities. I know you are a big fan of the card games, and I am too. So I'm really happy with that. But are there any other sort of activities that you would like to try? We can incorporate some new ones if you'd like.
New is always good.
What's that, Wayne?
New is always good.
Okay, new is always good. Very good. So what we're going to try to do then, I'm going to add in a new one at the end here. And let's see. Yeah, I'm going to add in a new game for you. And so that is now on your console. So what I'd like you to do, Wayne, is actually hit the back button for me, the top left. And I'd like you to go through and perform some of the activities.
Okay.
Okay. And you can do it just a smattering right now and see how the changes are working for you. Sure. And what we'll do is, I'm going to make a quick change there. Let's see.
I see that solitaire is not first anymore, but strong or thermometer is.
Yeah, I can go ahead and it should still be solitaire. So maybe it hasn't taken on your side yet, and that's okay. It's certainly on your prescription though.
Okay.
But what I'd like you to do is just go through and let's go through a couple of the exercises real quick and just make sure that they're working well. And so go ahead and just, if you want to, maybe play a couple of individual minutes of each of them. And I'm going to double back with you guys, and we can make some fine tweaks if you like.
That'd be fine.
Throughout the process. Okay, very good.